Welcome back everybody to WCS America Premier League Group C action as we are getting ready for our lower bracket match. It's going to be a PvP between Oz and MacSed. Should be a fun one, Nate. This of course a very important one for both players that have actually been pretty successful in WCS America throughout their career. So to see one of them drop out in the round of 32 is surprising, but that goes for any of the two that is going to drop out today, as this group is, pretty stacked.
Pretty stacked group. You said it though. Both of these players, if they want to actually have a realistic shot, particularly Oz, if you want to get the WCS ranks up, get those WCS points, you need to get out of the round of 32. You cannot afford to face elimination. And we've seen the caliber of players that especially, I would say, all of our Chinese Protosses have been defeating when it comes to not only WCS America Season 3 Premier, but Challenger as well. This is where things get a little bit interesting because we know players like Jim have advanced, but we've had Shauna make big upsets, and even MacSed upsetting Ryung was certainly one of the things that I personally didn't expect going into the Challenger matches. So maybe MacSed pulls something out of left field, throws a curveball, knocks him out early.
His PvP is pretty good, and these two guys have played against each other twice in the past. They played against each other at Intel Extreme Masters Shanghai a long time ago, and even though that series was played in China, Oz was able to defeat MacSed back then 2-0. However, they also played against each other in WCS America Season 3 last year, and back then MacSed was able to defeat Oz 2-1. Ironically enough, both of them did advance from that group, so both of them made it to the top 8 back then. Oz even going to top 4 after defeating Hero in the quarterfinal. And MacSed lost, I believe, to Tasia. Oh no, he lost against Tasia. Either way, they both advanced from that group. But, so it's 1-1 between these two in the best of 3s. And today we will see who's still in the running. It's going to be very difficult for either of them. Because even if they win, even if you survive this PvP, you're going to have to go up against either Polt or Jaedong. So, yeah, it's no good foresight.
These are the two players that, when we look at the group on a whole, I would favor the least, mostly because I'm a huge Jaedong fanboy, but also because Polt has just been on a tear. Polt's been playing very well all around across the board for the last few months, and Polt's just kind of always good. Like there's no really such thing as a slump for him. So you can take a look at the whole group so far. These are the results in case you're just joining us for WCS America Premier Group C. Polt was able to 2-0 MacSed in the first match of the day, and we just saw Jaedong clinch a 2-1 victory over Oz. Now, in the lower bracket, you can see there's no more spaces for these players to drop down. If you lose, you're out.
Yep, that will be the end of your WCS America 2014 run, because I think it's safe to say if both MacSed or Oz lose, if either MacSed or Oz loses over here, then that's going to be it, Nate. Neither of them will make it to BlizzCon unless they somehow end up winning like 2 Premier League tournaments in the remaining months, but the odds of that happening are not very likely. So, very important for both of them. Of course, MacSed would love to come to America once again, especially because Jim already qualified last week. It's kind of funny how it went, because the very first time the Chinese players joined us in WCS America, both of them made it to the round of 16. And both of them even made it to the round of 8. Then the season after that, unfortunately, Jim didn't qualify, but MacSed did go all the way again. He made it to the round of 8. And even in the first season of 2014, he made it to the round of 16, back then in Cologne, Germany. So he's had a really good run, but lately he had to do it without his buddy Jim. Now Jim has made it again, and now it will be very sad for MacSed if he doesn't make it. So we only have one of the two Chinese Protoss brothers from Invictus Gaming. They're both great guys. Seems like the players are ready. I'm just going to go ahead and fire the game up, as map number 1 is going to be played on Overgrowth. It will be the first and only PvP of the day, so don't worry, all you non-Protoss players. It will be fun. Just enjoy it. It will be fun, Nate.
I'm sure this will be a great PvP.
Yeah, it's fun. Like, these two have a little bit of a history with each other. There's so much on the line. And above all, MacSed, I think he's a lot more fun to watch in this matchup than he is in PvT. He has a very safe and steady approach against Terran. And in Protoss vs. Protoss, he's a little more out there. He's not afraid to switch it up. And of course, Oz, well, we can talk about his PvP for days because he's been talking about it himself for so long. Either way, we're ready. We're loaded in. Game number 1 is live on Overgrowth.
That's right. Our first player in the top right position, representing Planet Key Dynamics. He is the red Korean Protoss. His name is Oz. Of course, he's had some good runs this year, but if he actually wants to go to BlizzCon, he needs to make a very deep run this season. His opponent in the bottom left has got a bit more of a difficult road ahead of him. Very difficult for him to play in tournaments outside of China. From Invictus Gaming, it is MacSed.
Like we said, Nate, in the start of the series, of course, Oz has a very rich history when it comes to PvP. I think we all remember that interview that he gave in 2012. Our dear friend, Ludot, likes to bring this up as well, as Oz once upon a time said, PvP is all luck, it's no skill, and if you think you're wrong, if you think I'm wrong, then just go ahead and play against me. And in the next tournament, he lost 2 PvPs and he got eliminated. He lost against a Korean. I think he also lost against Grubby back then in MLG. And Grubby 2012 wasn't even as good as Grubby is right now, or in 2013, or how good he is. So that was kind of funny. However, over the last, I would say, 6 to 9 months, or even the last year, I definitely think that this PvP has picked up again. And it's safe to say that Liquid Hero really dislikes playing against Oz, as Oz back then was used as well to snipe Hero in team leagues between EG and Liquid. Those encounters were always fun to watch. Oz has defeated Hero in WCS America in round of 8. So his PvP is traditionally good, but the same can be said for MacSed. Of course, MacSed is a big body Jim, or to say a small body, as MacSed is the older one. He's also a Protoss player, and I think both of them are pretty damn strong in PvP. So I do think this is going to be a very even match, and it's really hard to say who I would give the edge to.
Yeah, I like Oz mostly because of the history, the results for this year, but that's not to, it's not to dismiss MacSed's strengths, as it's gonna be a double gateway opening for Oz. Now, I myself love double gateway openings in PvP, mostly because it's good versus a lot of early aggressive plays. But you think Oz is expecting an early aggressive play from MacSed, or is he gonna go up maybe like 3-5 stalker push with the Mothership Core?
I think it's just double gateway into Twilight, which is a very safe and steady opening. Could even be into a Nexus. I'd be surprised if Oz makes 3 Stalkers and then adds another gateway and puts himself in a position where you almost have to do a little bit of damage with your 3-gate opening because you delay the rest of your attack so much. But above all, this is just such a solid opening that perhaps he was afraid of MacSed being a little crazy. I'm not sure how well he knows MacSed. They have played against each other twice, so he definitely knows who he is, and he's seen him around in WCS America. But above all, he might think like, hey, these Chinese pros players. I just saw this dude called Shana the other day against Crank. They're a little bit out there, so he's going to go for a Stargate. Actually, Oz is going 2-gate Stargate, MacSed going 1-gate Stargate, and his Stargate is a little bit ahead.
This is unusual. I don't really see this much, but does he want to, if you open with 2 gates and a Stargate, like, is that just the ultimate defensive build, or does this mean he has to get aggressive?
No, this is just more defensive. Like, it's a lot easier to defend a 10-gate 3-gate with 2-gate Stargate than going 1-gate Stargate. Now, MacSed is adding 2 more gates behind this, but the good news is his Stargate is done quicker. Now, it's very important. Will MacSed open up with the Phoenix? I think he will. Ooh, it's an Oracle. So now if Oz opens up with Phoenixes, Oz is going to find himself in a very, very, very good position. If he's able to scout this, yes, Oz will open up with the Phoenix. That's a good call.
Yeah, I mean, the Phoenix, I guess like you said, it's just a very defensive setup. But that Phoenix is going to shut down an Oracle without any difficulty whatsoever. That bonus damage to light, and this Mothership Core even coming in for the Ninja Scout.
It's so important that he sees the Stargate. He doesn't see it yet, though, Nate. He's going to snipe a probe. Now he's going to see it. Yep, there we go. And that really helps. This Mothership Core is going to survive. And above all, I think right now, Oz is going to keep his Phoenix at home. Because A, he doesn't want to be outnumbered in Phoenixes. And B, is like, hey, I hope I open up with an Oracle. Of course, you want to make sure that this Oracle doesn't fly into your mineral line undetected. But it shouldn't be the case. You see Oz, he's patrolling. He's hoping for this. And he's going to be like, man, today is my lucky day. I'm going to kill an Oracle. That is going to kill absolutely nothing.
I like the tags revelation on the Phoenix. It's like, well, I'm going to die. Might as well do something with my last little bits of energy. At least you can keep track of the Phoenix now. As they find... Oh, I think they just flew over his probe. His probe that he had on the map. Bit unfortunate for us.
Oh, this is a very dicey scenario now for MacSed to play from. He's going to drop a Twilight console, so he's going to try to, I think, expand immediately. Will he be able to get the Nexus down in time? The Phoenixes are getting close. I think he will be able to warp it in. He's probably going to end up losing the probe. He's going to keep it alive. So it's not all bad news, because the good news for MacSed is that he does have a Mothership Core, so he can drop Photon Overcharge.
Yeah.
If I was him, I would just Chrono Boost out as many probes as possible and just somewhat try to neglect this Phoenix damage. But I often say, Nate, it's inevitable that these Phoenixes will eventually pick up a couple of probes and will start working on your mineral line. And I do think that Oz is going to find himself in an even better economic position than he's already finding himself in right now.
Yep, Phoenix running through. There's the Photon Overcharge, and there the Phoenix go. And boost out. And Blink is on the way for MacSed. Immortals are coming out for Oz, though, and his Nexus is about the same time, I would say, as MacSed's. Not really too much further ahead. He's going to get a Forge, too. So this looks like it wants to play out towards just being a straight-up 2-base versus 2-base, maybe even a third later on for both of these guys.
Yep. But now it's just so much nicer to be Oz than it is to be MacSed, because even though for us, you know, we see that not a whole lot is happening and we have information to all the numbers, MacSed doesn't. And I can guarantee you, if you're playing PvP in this scenario, it's hard not to be paranoid. You're going to be annoyed because you just see nothing. It's really hard to scout. He did manage to send a hallucinated Phoenix across the map, so he's going to see a little bit more. He knows that the Nexus is going up. He's going to see who. He's like, oh, that's a nice amount of probes that you have already over there. I hope that you transferred a bunch of them. But, you know, Oz already had 6 workers. He has complete map vision. He has complete map control. As soon as MacSed even thinks about taking his El Naga Watchtower with a few units, these Phoenixes are going to fly in and kill 6-7 workers in the blink of an eye. It's just really frustrating to play against this. And I don't really know what the best thing for MacSed to do is. I think it's just sit back, macro up, try to get as many probes out as possible, and get your own Blink Stalker.
What about army composition later, though? Is there something that MacSed wants that he can build towards that doesn't really have to worry about the Stargate play, or?
I mean, the Stargate play is not something he really has to worry about anymore. It's just that it puts him behind. The Stargate play is already a very successful play for us. I think they're aiming for the same thing, Immortals, Archons, and probably eventually Colossus as well. Because if I was Oz, I would never attack. I would just keep macroing. I would take my third base before my opponent does it, or do it on the exact same time.
Just take your lead and run with it.
Yeah, exactly. Just do the same thing as your opponent, but then do it over better economy.
Sounds reasonable. Robotics Bay is actually on the way for Oz. He's going to make that switch into Colossus, and there's MacSed. Now he's getting his Forge. Now he's getting his Robotics Bay. But like you just said, it's a little bit later.
Yeah, Oz is just going to do the same thing as his opponent, and he's always going to be a little bit ahead because, you know, there's no hidden unit in PvP that's suddenly really going to turn things around. Yes, one opponent, MacSed could have focused on a lot of gateways, a strong 2-base attack with a few Immortals and Archons, but Oz made damn sure that he won't die to some silly Blink Stalker shenanigans, as he has 4 Immortals standing over here. And, well, I don't know how you're supposed to kill 4 Immortals with Blink Stalkers, Nate, but it's very tricky. Phoenix gonna blink in. I think this time they might be able to get a Phoenix, maybe even 2, because he should have left some units in the natural as well. Like, ooh, no, he didn't. Man, the Phoenix actually all gonna get out. So like 3 photon overcharges have gone down, and these Phoenixes are all still alive.
What is Mothership Core energy anyway?
44 probes against 51. This is a kind of a slow PvP like this. There's just not too much else that you can potentially do. If either player decides to attack, it would be a wrong move. If Oz attacks, yeah, he might be able to win, but does he have to attack? No, and he's in a good position, so why would he? And if MacSed attacks, he's not going to win the game with it, and meanwhile he's going to lose a lot of workers. That's a very good blink, so he will finally pick off one of these Phoenixes.
Yeah, nice pick up there. Let's see, the first Colossus is going to come out just a little bit ahead for Oz. But Oz has a third Nexus on the way now. And this is where he wants to really build on that lead. Mothership Core takes some damage, the Stalkers blink forward, but Cannon actually helps pick off another Phoenix, which is nice.
That is really nice. You know, MacSed is down 6 workers. He's a little bit behind in upgrades, but he's not in an unplayable position. He's going to go up to 3 bases now. I must say I'm actually really impressed with the way that MacSed has handled these 4 Phoenixes, because in the start, he didn't even have Blink. You could say maybe Oz respected the slow Stalkers and the one Mothership Core a little bit too much. I would have liked to see him be a little bit more adventurous with his Phoenixes. Because I think even if you lose 1 or 2 earlier, if you can build a worker lead where you're up at like 40 and your opponent is at 30, that matters way more than being at 50 and then your opponent is at 45 and then you kill 2 workers or something. So I would like to see him try a little harder, but in the end I think Oz did it right. You know, he has very good map control, he has a good setup, he's ahead in the strong units, the units that will make the difference. So he has played well.
Yeah, I like this. MacSed's actually going to go for a Dark Shrine as he moves out some of these Stalkers. Picks off just 1, gets Force Field and blinks out. Good control from him so far. Colossus range, though, is going to be finishing up for both players. And I think one of the bigger edges I like really for Oz is that he has his +2 attack so much faster. If he wants to push soon, it's going to give him a bit of an edge. Does he really have anything in place, though, for the potential Dark Templar that could be coming out soon?
He doesn't really have a whole lot of defensive cannons yet, and I don't even think he has a whole lot of observers, maybe 1. So But the problem for MacSed is MacSed doesn't have any warp-in options on the other side of the map. Oz has absolute
Oz has
map
pylons
control.
everywhere.
Yeah,
there are actually pylons like everywhere on this map.
Yep, it's very beautiful. Oz is going to try to snipe this base, and MacSed is unaware of it. He hasn't seen it yet, and also Oz's army is just so much stronger because of all these Immortals. He has a lot of Zealots in the mix as well. He has to be careful, but the Mothership Core energy from MacSed is low.
Yep. Nexus loses all of its shields, but still up.
DTs are
I think he sees the Dark Templar, though, because he has his Observer with his army, so now he knows, and I think that makes this...
I think if he saw it, he would have already dropped the cannon in every base.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. He hasn't started to build any yet.
No, he doesn't know yet, but MacSed still can't warp in.
One Dark Templar being added to the army. I mean, Archons aren't necessarily terrible, but the Dark Templar is supposed to be like an ace in the hole, but he doesn't need... Like, MacSed doesn't actually have an Observer with his army, though, so, like, there's no way he can kill the Observer that Oz has in his base, right?
MacSed has an Observer.
Oh, he does? Okay, it's the Stalkers.
Yeah.
Okay.
But, okay, now Oz knows, and I think now we are going to see a bunch of cannons go down, and if he doesn't, he just killed the Dark Templar, Oz. You just killed the Dark Templar, which means there are Dark Templars.
Yep. There's one perusing its way towards the natural.
This Dark DT is really going to mess things up.
Yeah, he's looking to pick up a lot of probe kills, and I think he's going to be able to get them. This is really frustrating, because this army for Oz, he's moving in with it.
And if Oz loses his one Dark Templar, he's going to get a good engagement on these Colossus, though, but Photon Overcharge could help.
He's moving in. The Archons actually attack the Stalkers from the side, not able to help with this fight, but most of the Zealots are going to...
Yeah, he killed the Observer.
There's so many
Warp in
Immortals.
DTs. He needs to warp in a lot of Dark Templars, but yeah, you're right.
There's
all
no
the Colossus
Observers on the map for Oz. But how much can... Oh, there's no Dark... He hasn't warped any DTs.
No, he didn't see. He didn't see that he killed the Observer. There's just too much firepower in the army of Oz, and even though there was a Dark Templar on the other side of the map that was doing some real work, already at 18 kills, by the way, or 16, the Dark Templar in the main. Ooh, that was a little close there by Oz, and...
that was a very interesting... Like, that could have played out in a really crazy way, I think. Just...
If he warps in 4 Dark Templars before that fight starts...
You split him between those bases, baby. Don't leave him at home.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, that as well, if he would send the first 2 across the map. And even, like, I'm really surprised. I guess he was just not paying attention. I think his army was on attack move, and he killed the Dark Templar, but he wasn't looking at it. And then he probably thought he killed a probe or something like that. Because he didn't get a single defensive cannon, and that could have really snowballed. If MacSed would have been somehow able to defend that base, then everything would have been different, and even killed the Observer, but I think because it was kind of random on the right side, and the Colossus were really exposed. It was a beautiful attack by Oz regardless, and he had so much firepower in his army, but, you know, it could have been the big turnaround in that game. But, you know, all things aside, if you open up with an Oracle, and your opponent opens up with Phoenixes, that is an absolute dream scenario, and players that are this good, and that play on this level...
You get a lead like that. And
that is a massive lead. That is as close to a build order win as you're pretty much going to get in PvP in this day and age, where everybody's so good in defending all the gateway aggressions, no matter what kind of opening you're going for. There is not really a build order win, but when your opponent opens up with an Oracle and you open up with Phoenixes, that is pretty close to it.
Yeah, that's not quite a comfortable position to be in. So, moving into the next map, King Sejong Station for this PvP. What do you like on this map? I feel like King Sejong Station is... interesting with the rush distance, but it's not bad for Blinkstalker, Harass in the mid-late game, or Oracles for that matter.
Yep, no, I would be surprised if MacSed goes Oracles once more, especially with the way that this last game has played out. I just want to make sure that Oz is ready. Okay, he said ready. Alright, so I'm going to fire it up. I totally agree with you, Nate. It's a good Blinkstalker map. It's also a good map to just expand. You know, 2-gate expand, there's nothing wrong with that. Or even a 1-gate robo expand, but, you know, that is one of those builds that could die against, you know, 1-gate Phoenix into a few more gateways pressure, or the Oracle into the main.
You keep telling you tell me how much you love this Phoenix gateway aggression, and I believe you. Every time I see it now, it's just like it's actually ridiculously difficult to stop.
I know it's very, very, very difficult. If you go for a 1-gate fast expand, you follow it up with a robo, and your opponent is actually going for a 1-base Stargate all in. Well, you have your work cut out for you. It's very difficult to defend. Either way, the game is live. Game number 2 is going to be played on King Sejong Station, and we'll just see how it plays out. But I think you're on the right track, Nate. It's a good map for Blinkstalkers. It's a good map to expand. Above all, you know, every map is a good map to open up with Phoenixes when your opponent opens up with an Oracle. But I do not think that MacSed is going to go for an Oracle once more.
No, that would be interesting. His keyboard just unplugged? Okay, he waited a long time to build that 8th probe. Huh. Well, in the top left, it's MacSed, Invictus Gaming. He's a pretty good player. Actually, I had my camera following, I think, one of the other observers. I thought you were doing the zoom in. I thought you were zooming in before I introduced the guy.
He's gonna chrono boost for a second. I thought like maybe it meant something that he delayed his work, but it didn't. I guess just a small mistake. Over here in the right bottom side of the map, we have a Red Protoss player who played a conservative style but hard countered the opening of MacSed in game number 1, and after that did mostly everything right. In the end, he could have died against Dark Templars, but it never got that bad. Representing Planet Key Dynamics, it is Oz. The good old man, like if Oz would have lost that game, those kind of games are devastating to lose.
Yeah.
Like we have all seen a couple of legendary StarCraft 2 games have played out like that. I guess nobody will ever forget Naniwa versus Hawk on Shakura's Plateau, I believe it was. And the home story cup where Hawk was pretty far behind, but then he killed the observer of 91, and the Dark Templars did so much damage.
Whenever I think about Dark Templar, I don't know why this game in particular comes to mind, but I keep thinking of that one game between In Control and Illusion, where like Illusion was up like 80 supplying back, and then like the DTs just made like the biggest miracle play. Not quite a PvP, I know it's not necessarily related, but there have been some epic comeback, crazy scenarios caused by Dark Templars, that's for sure.
Yeah, we had one just the other week, no? When we were like, well, one behind Dark Shrine, but not really this far behind.
Was it? Yeah, no. It was State versus someone, right? Yeah, there was an Archon versus a Stalker, eventually.
Oh, yeah, that was in WCS Challenger, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Who was that?
Okay, it was Jim.
Was
Jim, Jim against
Jim.
Bills.
Yeah, Jim against Bales. That game was actually crazy.
Or it was Jim against Belief.
No, it was Bales or Believe, yeah.
I think it was Belief. Because I think he was new to the...
I just remember everyone freaking out because it's like you play with the delay from China, right? Like, because...
Yeah, it was on this map as well. Yeah, it was Jim against Belief because Bills played against Neep in WCS Challenger.
Watching the Archon chase the Stalker was just... that was priceless.
Either way, once again, it's a double gate opening for Oz. A very safe opening that's really not going to die against anything. If your opponent opens up with 10 gate, 3 gate, then you're like, cool, ship it, bring it to me. I'm going to defend it, I'm going to have an economic advantage, and I'm going to have a tag advantage behind this. So, this is a very safe opening. It's the type of opening, Nate, that in general you go for when you just feel really confident in your own ability to win this game straight up. Because there is no strat that's really gonna put itself ahead against this opening. You know, maybe a 1-gate Nexus would be slightly ahead. Now Oz is opening up with the Twilight, while MacSed is opening up with the Stargate. And this is always a fun scenario in PvP, because I'm not sure which side I like more. Obviously having quick Twilight and a quick access to Blink is gonna help a lot against the Stargate opening. But then again, Phoenixes are still Phoenixes, they will still get the job done. And most likely MacSed is going to drop a quick robo behind this as well as soon as he sees its Twilight. So it's not like you can just counter-attack and win with Blink Stalkers, like that doesn't really happen anymore. It is a 3-gate opening though, so... And this time it is Phoenix, which I definitely expected, because you don't open up with an Oracle again.
Yeah, it's like, you would think that Blink Stalkers are good versus air units, and they're not necessarily terrible, but you can't really leave your base now.
Exactly.
As the Blink Protoss, so even though he's going to have, what is this, he said 3 gateway like setup, he's not going to be able to move his Stalkers across the map without either having his Mothership core sniped or
losing 7 probes.
Or losing 7 probes.
Yeah, no, I think as soon as Oz knows what he's playing against, he might try one time, you know, like drop a Photon Overcharge and then try to make some magic happen with your Blink Stalkers on the other side of the map. The Robo is a tiny bit late. Like, it's not super late, but it's also not very quick. Now, Oz is dropping a Robo as well. I think Oz is definitely going to expand behind this. I'm not sure if he saw the Phoenixes there with his probe, as they almost flew over it. But he's going to see them real soon anyways. MacSed wants to know, do you have an expand or not? He's going to see a hallucinated Phoenix. For a second, MacSed was like, let it be real.
Please.
Another build order win is Phoenix versus Phoenix when you kill the first Phoenix.
Oh my god. actually happened to me. I played a game on like Nimbus, like caught the guy's Phoenix, and like, well, I think this game's pretty much over.
It's so tricky. Now MacSed is going to fire up a Void Ray, which is obviously a defensive Void Ray, because he saw the gateways. He's like, hey, you still haven't expanded yet? I just want to make sure that if you blink on top of my ramp, I won't just die immediately. I don't think Oz is going to do that. I think Oz is going to expand. I'd be shocked if he doesn't expand.
Yeah. MacSed, though, when you're making an Immortal and a Void Ray at the same time.
Is that a 4th gateway?
Two very expensive. Whoa. This I did not expect. Immortal Void Ray versus 4-gate Blink. I think the Immortal Void Ray should win at the top of that ramp, no?
As soon as MacSed has like an Immortal, you can fire up the 2nd Immortal.
Did MacSed saw the 4th gate, I'm assuming? Like, he started that Void Ray and that Immortal so early. Like, you wouldn't... Like, I feel like Immortal Void Ray is like not really a mid-late game composition. It's like a really powerful anti-stalker opening.
Exactly, it's just defensive. Now, what is the best case scenario for us? The best case scenario, in my opinion, other than just winning, which I don't think is doable unless he... Nah.
He would need the best, like the sickest target fire, the sickest blinks.
Exactly. The sickest target fire combined with the best blinks ever.
Oz would have to become a god for this fight.
But he can also just go for a contain. Because there is nothing in... Okay, MacSed is... MacSed already worried about that.
It's like Robo Bay, one base Colossus.
Look at these Phoenixes. These Phoenixes are like, nope, probe. You ain't gonna expand. You ain't just gonna contain me like that. I'm gonna make sure. This is actually really high level play from both players. Like, Oz could have tried to be like a Bronze League hero and just blink
Oz
on top
got
of the
a probe
ramp.
though. He got a probe out. Started the Nexus.
I would have loved to see MacSed do a better job in trying to deny these probes from dropping that Nexus.
Yeah, picks it off though. At least kills the probe. But now he can't do anything about the Nexus, and that's frustrating. This hallucinated Phoenix looks up. He's like, yeah, okay, got some Zealots, but without Blink on his own, I feel like Oz always has a retreat option, right? Like he can always just back out as soon as MacSed comes on his ramp.
When the Colossus breaks the force field, he can indeed just go back off. But then let's not forget about these two Phoenixes, who, what I always like to say, kind of serve the purpose of Raiders in Warcraft 3. But instead of throwing Answer, they have Graviton Beam. They will actually trap a couple of units, and in PvP, every unit is sort of important. What's also nice for Oz is that if MacSed decides to break the force field and then run across the map, because by now this army, 3 or more, this army is way stronger than this Blink Stalker army. Of course, Oz wants to buy time one way or the other, and he can always go for the 4 Blink Stalker hit squad. Look, he's hallucinating Phoenix.
I like the hallucinated Colossus because he's trying to trick him into thinking that he already has it out.
Yeah, but there's an observer in this army.
Yeah.
Observer's like, Colossus, you're looking a little blue.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, the observer, and he's like, yeah, I know.
You're looking a little blue, but he's like, hey, that's a real one.
Yeah.
Where are the Phoenixes?
Like, asked before, but you actually can't break force fields with hallucinations. They're not that good.
No. I thought about it as well. Oz is leaving a lot of stalkers over here because I think he's
worried. Is he trying to snipe the Robo?
I think he's just
with
trying to...
this many stalkers at once, yeah, he's looking to do lots of damage.
And this is the power of Blink as well. It's not just about, you know, micro potential early on. But he has to be careful. Look
at the army position. He's actually on the right side ready to catch these units, but he's just going to walk in and kill all the fighting forces of MacSed. That's really frustrating to deal with, and I think he should be able to escape with most of his stalkers. A great pickoff by Oz.
Yep. And above all, he also unpowered these 3 gateways, so if MacSed had any plans of being very aggressive, I think he's going to have to change those plans, because this will keep happening. This is not going to happen once or twice. Oz will keep doing this every single time MacSed wants to move out, and this observer is helping out so much for Oz now as well. That's so smart. It's really smart play by Oz.
Oh my god, if he cancels this Nexus, this is going to be such a big deal, because he's already got his base mining. He's producing 2 probes at a time.
Yeah, Oz is sort of outplaying. Oh, misblink there. Okay, that's unfortunate. How many stalkers are left?
They punched the wrong coordinates into their Blink GPS.
It seems like Oz has picked off one of the Phoenixes as well. I would have loved to see MacSed actually use his Phoenixes, because then when the stalkers blink in your main base, you can lift up 2 Phoenixes and you can guaranteed kills. Look at the money of MacSed. He's been supply blocked for a while. Okay, this attack, Nate, is still going to be scary though. Oz is going to blink into the main base, so he's going to kill a lot of workers, and this is pretty much going to shut the entire economy down of MacSed. However, now the million-dollar question, does Oz have enough units at home?
Yeah, I'd really like to see Oz try to kill the pylons powering those gateways, because MacSed has a couple bucks left to try to warp in some maybe Zealots with.
Or the Nexus.
Oh, that's actually a really good point. Nexus is fine too. And this is actually 1 Colossus. I don't know. He needs to get these stalkers home, actually. I feel like, yeah, look at this, he's like, okay.
Oh, this is actually, I think Oz is more than enough. Like, I mean, it's going to be tricky. Photon overcharge is so important now. But he has 4 Immortals.
Yeah, Oz is taking every possible precaution. I think once MacSed tries to break the main.
And the Colossus is on the way, Nate.
Yeah, that might actually be all he needs.
Okay,
those Blink Stalkers, yes, he's really waiting for these to get back home.
Okay, now MacSed is mining a tiny bit again as well, which is not huge, but at least, you know, he's able to wipe in a few more units. Also his own Colossus, he's up in Immortals and he has Blink Stalkers, so normally everything is going his way. The only thing he doesn't have is a Void Ray, and he's down one Colossus.
Just attack from every direction, man, with these with the Stalkers in the back.
Yeah, that's a risk. It could work. It could work. As long as he gets a Colossus, it's worth it. This is close, but I should be able to have it. There are force fields as well, though. Force fields could be very important.
Yeah, MacSed moves in, but Oz collapses from every direction. Even hallucinates a Colossus with this army. The Zealots fall back to fight the Stalkers, but Blinks looking solid from Oz are going to allow him to potentially eliminate MacSed. The Immortals are doing work on the Zealots, not really targeting the Colossi, but both Colossus have fallen for MacSed, and GG is called. MacSed is going to be eliminated from WCS America Premier League Season 3.
Really beautiful engagement there in the end by Oz, splitting up his army in 3 different ways. It was sort of a triangle engagement. You don't really see that very often, but the Illuminati is real, Nate. He did that very well. Just leaving those units on the right side, also hallucinating a Colossus on the left side, makes it hard for MacSed to say which one is real or not, because he didn't have an observer with his army. And then above all, messing with the Colossus AI. We can just take another look. This is one of the most beautiful engagements I've seen in a little while in PvP. Just excellent by us, really, absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, this you get a full surround on this force. Being able to attack from so many directions also limits how good the Colossi that MacSed has, because you don't have that big clump to use your splash damage against. And the same hand, you have splash damage in favor of Oz when he finishes his Colossus, because MacSed's army is just one big clump.
Yep, everything was grouped up. Oz is doing a phenomenal job in buying a lot of time with his Blink Stalkers on the other side of the map. First with the Blinks, making sure that MacSed can't really turn it into a macro game after losing that Nexus and also losing a lot of probes. Then the moment MacSed decides to move out, if you just sit back on the other side of the map with your Blink Stalkers, it would have been a very difficult hold for Oz, because then the army, he didn't have the same amount of time, and instead of 4 Immortals, he probably has like 2 Immortals. He doesn't have that Colossus yet. It would have been very difficult to keep his own natural alive, but he realized that it's not important to save his own natural anymore. After he killed so many probes on the other side of the map, he's like, all right, all I have to do is just survive, because my opponent is all-inning me, and he did a really good job.
Yeah, just perfect reaction, perfect response, and there's a tiny plays that he made with those Blink Stalkers going into the main base early in that game. Just setting himself up so well. His Nexus and his Natural finished when it was just being started by MacSed. So, with that being said, Oz is going to advance to the final match of the day. That means it's time for our winners match to determine who will be the first player to advance to the round of 16 and who will play against Oz. That's right, we're going to have Holt versus Sejong. Don't go anywhere. You're watching WCS America Premier League. We'll be right back.